Okay. So thanks everyone for being here today. So we're going to be talking about 9Q and EQ. So 9Q stands for energetic intelligence and EQ stands for emotional intelligence. So this is kind of one of the programs where it's not really directly real estate related, but it has a huge impact on your sales, the quality of your business, and most importantly, your life and your happiness. So I'm super passionate about this stuff. And so is Michael. It's changed our life a lot, and we're excited to get into it.
Yeah, this is something we've kind of implemented. The end of last year is when Hannah started going through some she has an energetic coach. And we started to really be mindful and intentional about our energetic and emotional states, which is, guys, honestly, one of the most important things that you can do as a human being. And especially if you're in sales and this type of work. Okay, glorious. Isn't working, but being able to manage your human emotions and be able to feed off of other people's emotions in a good way, meaning giving them good energy, is one of the most important things you can do in your business and in life. So that's why we teach this stuff. We preach a lot about. She says she's gonna bounce back on.
Okay, Gloria.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, if you just want to, I just asked to unmute, but if that doesn't work, you can just hang out on the phone and we'll leave it on.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect. Yeah, that works too.
perfect.
Yeah.
Can you hear us now on the Zoom?
No, I think something's wrong with my audio. It's kind of
I'm fixing it on the back end.
Okay, sounds good. We'll leave you on the phone then.
Can you
Thank
guys hear us okay? Is there any feedback coming from you, Olivia? Can you?
Yeah, no, you sound good. Yep, over here too, same.
Yeah. Awesome. So anyways, that's why we implement this. We've done it in our own life, and why we implement it for our agents in the brokerage. So let's get rolling here.
All right, so quick rundown of what we're going to go through. So we'll go through the definition of EQ and 9Q. We'll get into some tech framework, green zone and flow, and then we'll get into the 6 habits and recaps and ahas. So what is energetic intelligence?
Great. Awesome.
Awesome. Sorry, we're just. Yay! Congratulations, Lynette, on your first official client. Awesome.
Thank you.
You go, girl. We've been noticing your hard work, and let me tell you, that pays off. It never ever fails. Never ever. The good old grind.
Yep.
Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, you're doing amazing.
Thank you.
So yeah, energetic intelligence. This is the power of living in alignment, which allows you to create, serve, and impact at your highest level. So with 9Q, which is energetic intelligence, you will bring greater clarity, energy, and inspiration to those you serve and love. You'll feel better, and you'll become an expert at declaring and achieving goals that matter. So this is really, really important in real estate because life beats you down. Right? Outside of real estate, life in general beats you down every single day. There's something some battle you have to get through, some issue you have to deal with, some stress you have to incur, health, family, work, all of these different things. And so it's really, really critical that you have the right tools and habits in place to keep yourself feeling good, feeling your best self, not only for yourself, but also for your family and your clients and your children and any other people that you serve on a daily basis.
And I think one thing that I've learned through this training too is the self-awareness to know when you're not really in that highest productive zone. And that's one of the things we'll talk about today. My big takeaway from this program has been that, like, a self-awareness of the energy that I'm bringing, and then being able to, when you're not your best self, being able to try to get yourself back in the green zone is what we call it. And so just being able to kind of be self-aware of that. And self-awareness is something, I think my entire life, I've always tried to be completely self-aware of who I am and my, how other people are perceiving my energy. And so that's what the great thing about this program is being able to identify that and being able to be self-aware of what's happening in your life. And because you guys probably don't even think about it, you just go throughout your day. And I never really thought about it. I just, oh my gosh, I'm not at my best today, but I never really sat and identified it. And I had a process for trying to get me out of feeling bad, or out of the red zone, we call it. So
yeah, out of the red zone. So this goes in a little bit of a on top of this. So what is emotional intelligence and energetic intelligence, and what is flow? So we went over what energetic intelligence is, and then emotional intelligence is similar. But that is really how you interpret and react and are able to control your emotions throughout the day. As Michael was saying, being able to be self-aware of where you're at, and then being able to reboot when you realize you're not in the green zone or not feeling your best self. And how quickly you can reboot is a really good indicator of how strong you are emotionally, and how strong you are emotionally is a huge indicator on your success for everything in life, right? Your happiness. So that's why they're super important. They're the most important thing above all else, above all other skills or things you could possibly do or train on. And to use emotional and energetic intelligence to empower your business and life, these habits will increase your flow on a daily basis, which means you're feeling good, you're in the zone, you're as efficient as possible. So that'll maximize your productivity. It'll maximize your impact on others, which is super important, especially in sales and negotiation. And most importantly, it'll allow you to live in joyful creation every single day. And, some people probably think this stuff sounds cheesy at first. I actually hired my business coach. He's a very elite guy. He's not just some guru that you can Google and pay. And so, I didn't know anything about him other than, he was a multi-millionaire and a very, very successful guy. And so I thought this was going to be, business coaching. And we started in our first 10 weeks, we didn't say one thing about business, really. We talked all about emotional and energetic intelligence, and that completely transformed my business. And then, of course, we tied it all back together.
Yeah. As the training goes through, and I kind of watched Hannah, we've done the training together, but he is a business coach for some of the top companies like with Microsoft and Google. And so he trains all the employees with this platform. And so the business, what I've noticed most about this training is the business part is like a side note, right? It's all the other stuff that's important. And then the business is business, as you guys know, the day-to-day business. So
yeah, and we'll show you a quick clip here too. So the actual definition of emotional intelligence is the ability to manage your emotions to create a healthy flow state and support others in doing the same, regardless of the disruptions and challenges you are facing. So this is really cool. Have you ever had someone walk in the room and you're like, oh God, what is wrong with you? Right? Like you can feel their energy even before they open their mouth. They just walk in the room. Like I do it all the time. I'll walk in the room. Michael's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. Right. And vice versa. And that's just, And so that's a huge thing. And for so long, I wasn't even aware of the energy I was putting off. I'm just in my head or stressed out, or I don't even realize, what's going on inside or the battles I'm internally facing. I'm just going through the motions. And that negative energy, it really chews away at you and limits you from reaching your maximum potential. And so it's really important. So the first thing is being self-aware, and I'll teach you some habits to be able to do that. And then eventually it'll just come natural to you. So with high emotional intelligence, you'll become more self-aware. You'll recognize what emotions and events are negatively affecting your flow and performance. So this is really good. When you ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? And when you realize you're not feeling well, try to figure out what happened to make me feel this way. Why am I, like Michael and I are determining that I'm typically very anxious on Sundays. And so I'm trying to figure out, why do I get so anxious on Sundays? Is it the anxiety of the week ahead? Is it that I'm not focused on something and I'm kind of just relaxing and my mind starts to spin into different areas? So being able to be self-aware lets you start to see what triggers are causing that, and then how you, what you can do to get yourself out of that. So when you feel really good, you can ask yourself, okay, why do I feel really good right now? Is it because I just had a nice dinner with my family? Is it because I just spent time with my spouse? Is it because I just closed a deal and got a good review from a client and changed their life? Someone here. And so once you start to figure out these triggers, you can control your energy much better, which will have a huge impact. So you'll also be able to increase your ability to self-manage and develop the tools you'll need to start each day in flow, which is critical to start each day feeling your best. You'll gain the ability to reboot, returning to a state of flow when emotions, events, and your environment disrupt your productivity. No matter how amazing you are and how emotional intelligent you are, you're always going to get knocked out of flow. It's just going to happen. Like, it's life, right? And so it's not about, you want to limit the amount of times you get knocked out. But it's more about how quickly can you get back, so most things in life I can reboot within 2 to 5 minutes typically, and I'm back in flow. I get myself back. Sometimes, obviously, if something huge happens, it might take you a day, but we never, ever want you sitting there out of flow for days and weeks at a time, because my coach always says, what does that cost you? When you are not your best self and you're feeling bad, how much does that cost you? What relationships is that costing you? What deals is that costing you? What family problems is that costing you? So it's really important.
Yeah. How important are our words, right? When we're in the red zone and we say something that we'll regret, how much costly are those that you can't take back? So being able to, like Hannah's saying, just being able to identify quickly that I'm in this red zone, I need to reboot, and whatever that process is, and we'll give you some guidelines for that, trying to get out of it as quickly as possible. So you don't get in a situation with a client or with somebody important in your life that you're going to say or do something you regret just because you're in the red zone. You're in a really, really bad spot. So.
Yep. And you'll also be able to become an empowerment specialist, knowing how to read social cues, have empathy, support, and really support others' emotional intelligence without trying to control them at the same time, or without taking on their negative energy. And that's a really fine line too. And that's a skill set that's really hard to learn, right? It's like, for instance, when Michael, I can tell he's not in the green zone and he may be feeling stressed or down or whatever. How do I impact him and help him reboot without taking on that negative energy myself, right? Because you absorb, they always say a rotten apple rots the whole batch. One rotten apple rots the whole batch. And you'll see that one rotten strawberry rots the whole bucket of strawberries. And so it's, how do you help the person better their energy without you taking that energy on or
throwing fire on the energy. And same thing with the client too, right? Because you guys are going to encounter this. The client is selling a property. This is the biggest financial decision of their life. They're uprooting their family and moving a lot of times. There's tremendous amount of stress, time, and pressure that come with that. And like, you guys have got to be able to identify when a client is in that state, and some tools for getting them out of it, and always being the voice of reason and support, because that's what we really want, right? Is when we are down, we want somebody to help you lift out of there and really keep things in perspective too. Like, is this really, Hannah and I do this all the time, is this really what we're talking about right now? Or is this really what, the contention is right now? This little small thing, right?
Yep. And that happens sometimes, if you ever have a friend who's fighting with their couple or even a client in a deal, and the client's upset and you're upset, it's really because of the energy. And you talk about the topic, and sometimes it's something so silly like, oh, well, he was rude when he asked me what I wanted for dinner, and then we got into this big fight. Like, it's not about what's said. It's really about the energy, and it has such a huge impact. And a lot of people don't even think about it. This is really awesome. And if you study all of the most successful people on this earth, you will see that all of them have one thing in common. And this is what it is.
90% of what makes the best producers in business was not their cognitive ability. It's not how smart you are. It wasn't their education. It wasn't their background. It wasn't their personal history. It wasn't their natural talent. 90%, according to Daniel Goleman's research, of what made the best producers in business the best was their emotional intelligence.
Crazy, right? And all of us strive so hard to know the best, to be the smartest, to go to the most sales trainings. And honestly, the number one thing that's going to dictate your success more than anything is your emotional intelligence. And so this is really, really important. And I went through my entire career without really knowing this stuff, but I was always told that I was very mature and had great emotional intelligence and could reboot really quickly. Part of that's just from being beaten down so much, you learn to get over things really quickly. But now when you actually have the tools to study it and be self-aware and practice your EQ and your 9Q, you can really level up in your business and in your life.
90%.
So this was the first question my coach asked me when we started. He said, what is the biggest opportunity? He calls challenges opportunities. He likes to use energetically positive words. So,
Yeah.
but opportunity to him means challenge. So what is the biggest opportunity you are facing in 2022? And what gift or strength is unique to you? And what weakness do you believe may be holding you back?
So I want to go to our audience today. So let's go with Gloria. Hopefully your audio is working. I want to know, what is the biggest opportunity and challenge you're facing in 2022, and what gift strengths are unique to you, and a weakness that you believe might be holding you back. Biggest opportunity and challenge you're facing in 2022.
Hi, everyone. I think my biggest opportunity this year in 2022, if we're being completely honest, I know Lynette from American Express, but I've actually been part of a layoff with American Express as well earlier in the year. So that really was, emotionally heavy on not only myself, but also my family,
Yeah.
just because, the financial income and support wasn't quite there. I think, my gift and strength is really just being able to embrace change. I've always been really adaptable. So I think that's something that I do really, really well. But I think my weakness overall, and it's funny because I've always been in sales, but really I classify myself as an introvert, and I have like this inner shyness and something like every day I have to come out of my shell. So I think that's really my weakness. And it's kind of, the irony being in sales.
Yeah, I think we all are like that to a certain extent, right? And I know, like Hannah, you guys see Hannah in the business mode, but Hannah has a lot of social anxiety, believe it or not. Like, that was the first thing I learned about her. We were out to dinner one time and I was like, what the freak is wrong with you? Like, why can't you just have a good time? And she's like, I don't like going out. Like, this is making me this is horrible. And then I figured out, I thought it was me. I was like, oh, does this girl even enjoy time with me? And it was just the environment. It's always about the environment, right? And I try to put her in, like, so now we're intentional about our environments and what we do. But I think, the other thing is, when you're like that, you have that shyness inside, is it's hard to put yourself out there for like new clients, like these leads that come in, and being able to go and reach out to them, because or have an open house and have clients come in and we're shy, we're introverted, we're insecure, whatever is going on. And so, like, being able to identify that and going, you know what, this is part of the job, right? This is what we have to do. Prerequisite for being good at real estate is talking with people, right? And so that's just a daily job. So that's really good stuff, though. I think I'm going to go to Lynette here and say, what would the biggest win this year be for you, Lynette?
Yeah. So for me, I guess it would be an opportunity that I had closed, right? So like
Yeah.
Gloria, I was part of a layoff just very recently at American Express. And I was devastated because I was there for so long. I built so many relationships, and I myself too, Gloria, been in sales pretty much all my life. So I was so upset, and I was like, what am I going to do? So my husband's like, well, you've been wanting to do real estate. This is your biggest time to shine.
Yeah.
This is your opportunity to get out there and do what you want to do. So for me, that was a win. I took that door that closed as, okay, well, you lost a really great person, and now I get to do what I want to do. So that to me is a win.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it's really hard when a company, you guys pour into these companies, these big corporate companies, and you are loyal, you work hard for years and years. You give your best, and at the end of the day, they go, that's not good enough, we're letting you go.
We're a number, right? Exactly.
And you just, and then, your self-worth. And I've been a part of that when I was in the corporate world too. And when I left the corporate world in 2004, I never looked back because of that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never, ever putting my paycheck in somebody else's hands. I want it in my hands. And if I fail, I fail. But the one great thing about real estate is you're always paid what you're worth. You're paid
Right.
exactly what you're worth in real estate, you know,
Yeah.
and it's one of the, and doesn't mean there isn't failures and there isn't trials and tribulations, but that's good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna challenge the rest of you guys too, to really give it some thought here. What we need weaknesses you believe might be holding you back from being the best version of you. And then what's your biggest win would be for the win for the year for you? And so Hannah, like what was when you guys started talking about it, right? What was those biggest wins?
Oh, I did a whole project, which I'll show you guys. But yeah, my biggest win is like half a page writing
Yeah.
of all my different goals. But yeah, you know, for us and for me, it's growing the brokerage, right? This is a new company, it's a startup. You know, with
Yeah.
startups, there are a lot of risks, a lot of costs, and you want to do good. Like it's scary too, because we're putting ourselves out there and we're hoping you guys love us and love our brand and want to be a part of it. So being able to grow the brokerage and have really happy and thriving agents is a huge win this year for 2022. And then also, you know, launching up the franchise and being able to help entrepreneurs in the real estate community grow even beyond their wildest imagination and own their own brokerage and be in this spot too of training and mentorship and helping build something bigger than yourself. So those are my biggest wins. And then of course, I also have, you know, I like to break it down to work, spiritual, physical, mental, different wins in those different categories, but also health, you know, mental health is super important. You know, in the past, I've struggled tremendously with anxiety and depression for many years. So being able to conquer that this year for the first time has been really tremendous and the biggest win probably ever in my life. And then of course, you know, health wise, I'm definitely the least healthy I've ever been physically. So a big win for me this year would be, you know, really having the body and the, you know, muscle and the strength that I've always wanted to have, but have never really been able to dedicate myself fully to and support. So those are a few of mine. And then those add and shift and flow each year.
Never single
Each day,
Each day.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Olivia or Michelle, Olivia, do you want to share any opportunities that you're facing this year or any weaknesses that are holding you back?
Yeah, I'll go. So this might get a little deep. So I come from a really, really rough background. I've suffered a lot of personal loss since I was about 15 years old. My mom passed when I was 15. I had 3 younger brothers die in a car accident, and my father died last year. And I was a workhorse and I was a workaholic because that was the only way I could deal with my emotions and the constant like hurricane of negative thoughts in my head. So my biggest weakness is also my biggest area for growth. So I started seeing a therapist about 6 months ago. I've made a lot of progress. I've been able to really focus on my energy and kind of squash all of the negativity inside myself. And then I actually legitimately had a huge breakthrough over the weekend. Michael, I know you and I talked a little bit about this. The whole house buying process was stressing me out. And I've been in the red zone for the past month and a half, and I didn't know how to get myself out of it. So things fell apart Friday with the deal we were in progress in. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing anything this weekend. Screw it. I'm over it. I don't care. I'll be homeless. I don't want to. So I spent the weekend in California with my boyfriend and his friends, relaxing, not doing anything, not a care in the world. Didn't even really check my phone, which is probably a bad idea. But I woke up Sunday morning and I just felt so clear and so fresh, and I felt like I could take on the world. And it really drove home for me the whole getting yourself back in the green zone. And for me, it always feels like it's the biggest weight on my chest, the biggest hurdle coming my way when I'm knocked out of the green zone, because like I have this pattern of behavior of just being so negative with myself. So I'm learning. That's also my biggest win too, is learning self-care and like managing all that. So they all tie in together, and it's all like energetic and emotional for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really anything tangible, but just the growth that I felt in myself and seeing how much further I can go, that's, I don't know, maybe that sounds difficult to understand. So I'm not sure how that sounds, but
No,
hopefully you understand what I'm saying.
the one thing that, and Hannah and I talk about a lot too is white space.
Mhm.
Sometimes you need that white space, like this weekend was white space for you, meaning, it was the space in which you could just not do, right? Do the tasks of the day. You could sit and be creative. And it's funny, like being in a room with Hannah, it's kind of been the same thing for us for the last 60 days or so, where we've given ourselves a lot of white space to be creative. And that's where like this volcano of creativity comes from and clarity comes from when you have time to just kind of step back from the day. And so that's the other thing that I think is important to Olivia's point, is just allowing yourself to have some white space in your life. Maybe it's picking up a book and reading for a couple of hours and charting down some dreams and some things to be creative. And maybe it's times in continuing education, both for you emotionally and you kind of from a mental health standpoint, and then also on growing your business too, which is really, really important, like giving some time for that, and being able to pour yourself into that continuing education of your business and also for your mental health and how things are going. So it's like, it totally resonates with us. Like
Yeah.
sometimes we'll just be like, we're not doing anything today. Like we need time to kind of reboot and,
Mhm.
which is easy. It was not easy to do in this business, right? Because your clients are calling you Saturday. Sunday, you get a sign call. All of a sudden you're working all day and you haven't had a day off in 2 weeks,
Yeah.
so.
And Olivia, I resonate a lot with you, tremendously actually. And that was something my coach asked me too. He said, what would the biggest win look like for you? And then the next question was why? Right. And so in our previous mentorship, we went through what's your big why? That was our first class one that we did. What is your big why? Because I, like you, was a workaholic my whole life. Since I was 7 years old, I've been starting businesses, literally ask anybody that had known me for that long. And my why up until fairly recently was a coping mechanism. I was just keeping my mind busy and I had no self-worth. And I figured if I'm, the one thing I can control is my success. It's the one thing I'm good at. I've always been good at it and I can control how much I work. I can control how much I make. I can control that.
Yeah, your worth was in how good she can do businesses and how much money she could make.
Yeah.
Like literally every single day. That was the thing the only thing and everything that she could hold on to. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in this, crumbling, horrible world around me. And so that was the reason why. So everybody was like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. And that must be so nice. But inside I was dying really inside. And so same thing, had to really go backwards and say, okay, is this truly something I'm passionate about? And what is the root of why I'm doing this? And my coach always says, your why has to be coming from love, not to love. And that's a really important thing because it's all comes down to loving yourself and putting yourself first. And previously, every action I was taking was to try to get to a state to where I loved myself. And now with a lot of training and reworking my mindset, and a lot of, EQ and 9Q stuff, now every action I take is because I love myself. And so when you shift that mindset, in your business and in your relationships and in every action you do, is that, am I doing this from love or am I doing this to love? And just always being aware of that in the back of your head and making sure that you're loving yourself through the process. And that's why you're doing these things. So
yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Olivia.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Michelle, what about you? You with us?
She's muted.
She's muted. Okay. All right. So we'll move on now. Thank you all for opening up and sharing on that. I know it's not easy, so we really appreciate that. So now we're going to get into tech frameworks. This is more into the business stuff now that we know, what is emotional intelligence, and a lot of the tech framework and part of being successful in your business is productivity, right? So emotional intelligence has a huge impact on productivity because when you're not feeling your best, you're not doing your best and you're not as productive. So TEC stands for time, energy, concentration, and knowledge. If you're struggling with productivity, ask yourself which pillar is out of balance. Here are the definitions of each pillar. So time. A really cool strategy is called time boxing. This is, especially in real estate, it's so easy to get pulled a million different ways, right? Just on our call, I've gotten 15 phone calls. And so as you have these lists, like let's say you have prospecting scheduled, you have follow-up scheduled, you have all these things, but then you keep getting pulled away, it's going to be really hard to be productive and get those done and stay in the green zone while you're at it. So time boxing is where you set aside a certain amount of time to do something. For instance, on my schedule every day from 12 to 3, I'm going to do prospecting, or I'm going to do follow-up calls. That means from 12 to 3, you do not do anything else, no matter what, and you focus only on that. And then once 3 o'clock hits, whether you got through it all or you didn't get through it all, you're done and you move on to the next time block. So this really helps you stay focused, because when you're distracted, you're not efficient. Studies show it takes you like 15 minutes to get back into the full productivity once you get distracted from what you're working on. So that's really important. There's also the Pomodoro technique, which I can never say, but this is working in 25-minute chunks followed by 5-minute breaks. And then after 4 cycles, you take a break for 15 to 20 minutes. So you could look these up and actually see all the millions of different studies people have done. But this is really important stuff to stay organized and efficient to maximize productivity.
Yeah, the one thing you can identify too is when are you most productive in the times of day. And for Hannah, and both Hannah and I, it's in the mornings, because when our minds are fresh. And so we get more work done, both of us, even when we work separately, is that 8 a.m., 7 a.m., all the way till probably about 1 or 2 o'clock. And then our productivity drops off just because we're tired. And so I think doing the tough things first in the morning is always probably the best thing to do. The tedious stuff, I always feel like when your minds are fresh as you get going throughout your day. And so like I do CDAs in the mornings, right? For because I want to be precise on making sure everybody's getting paid, make sure the files look good, all this kind of thing. That tedious stuff I block out in the morning, and so be mindful of that too, is what tasks are you doing? What time are you going to time block those out so that you're the highest productive? So,
yep. Energy is super important too. Sleep 7+ hours a night, proper nutrition and exercise, and motivation. So I watch a lot of, if you follow me on social media, you see everything on my TikTok is always motivational. It chooses me, I don't choose it. But, and this was a big struggle for me too, because I was, again, working to love anything prior to recently. And before I went through this training, I didn't prioritize sleep. I actually had chronic nightmares and never slept, which is horrible. And I didn't prioritize nutrition and exercise because to me, it didn't have an ROI and it didn't make me money. And so I didn't schedule it into my day. I'm like, well, if I, take 2 hours out of the day to exercise, that's 2 hours I lose in making money in my business and growing my business. So really, really bad space to think in. Absolutely prioritize sleep, white space, downtime to reboot, reading and learning and motivation and podcast. That all stuff is good. Meditation, exercise, whatever gets you feeling right and allows you to reset and take care of yourself is more important than you could possibly do, because it's more efficient, right? So as my coach says, there's actually studies that show a CEO or anybody in business is 4 times more productive when they're in the green zone. And 95% of Americans live in the yellow or red zone every single day, which is horrible. Yellow is stressed, overwhelmed, distracted. So with that means somebody could show up to work. For instance, a real estate agent could work 2 hours in a day in the green zone and get more done than someone in the yellow zone would get in 8 hours. So that allows you time to live your life and take care of yourself. And that's why actually scheduling these things like proper sleep, nutrition, and exercise actually makes you more productive, so you can get a lot more done in a lot less time.
Yeah, and just be careful what you guys are putting in your body too, right? Like nutrition, exercise, like don't feed yourself garbage and expect to feel good. Like we do the same thing. Hannah and I struggle with the same things. It's like, well, how bad do we want to eat? Because we're going to feel like shit, right? And you're not going to be at your best. And then part of mental health is getting out there and and exercising, and make sure you guys are doing that for your body too, which relieves a lot of stress and anxiety and stuff like that. So just really be intentional about that stuff, guys, because it's so important that it's all of them are part of a good mental health and living in the green zone. All of those things are really, really important. So
Yep. And then there's concentration, of course, your ability to focus on a task without getting distracted. This is hard for me because I have the worst ADHD ever. He'll be like, can you give me a bottle of water? And by the time I get to the fridge, I don't know why I'm at the fridge, and I just get something and start eating. There's, so that's really tough. And then, how do you improve focus? This is mindfulness practicing, staying present in the moment, not living in the future or the past, right? Living in the future is anxiety, living in the past is depression. So being in the present moment is difficult for a lot of us. And then improving your work environment. And that can help you stay in the moment by, turning off notifications. If you're time blocking for prospecting, turn your phone off, turn your phone on do not disturb, and different things like that. Knowledge is the fourth in the tech framework. So this tells you how to use your energy, know the best tools and practices, and examine how to be more efficient. So we could teach you, we're teaching you all of this amazing content and how to be a successful real estate agent, but knowledge isn't power. And that's what my coach says. I hate the saying knowledge is power. It's knowledge used, knowledge executed is power. So it's not just what you know, you have to actually put that to use in order for that to be powerful. So Olivia, which one of these do you think you struggle most with?
If I'm being completely honest, all of them. I legitimately suck. I don't think I can
No, that's good.
not true.
Yeah.
Not true. You're a little superstar in the making.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just got to put the systems in place and get the flow. I mean, if I was at your age, like I was not like some of this stuff you just learn, right? It just takes time to become that's why most millionaires are not made until they're 50 years old. See, I don't know if you guys know that. Like most millionaires, it doesn't happen until you hit 45 or 50, because most of the time it takes 10 years to 20 years just to figure stuff out. Right. And so just some of this, just you have to be intentional, you have to implement, you have to be disciplined. The same things I focus on and struggle with every single day are the same things you guys do. We're not superpower humans. We just put systems in place and we execute. And that's really what it's about. So,
yeah.
So what, back to Olivia, just going back to you. So which one of these do you think you could tackle first? Which one of these is going to be the easiest for you to kind of implement?
Honestly, I'm probably gonna say time. Which is also why I'm super excited about the new house. So I love being alone. I work the best when I'm alone. And so to be in my own space and not have anybody distracting me, I think that's going to really help me set up my schedule and, time out my day better, which is in turn going to help my energy, which is in turn going to help my concentration. And then, the knowledge part after. So I think time is good where I should start.
Yeah, tackle. You don't have to tackle all these at once, right? Tackle one, let's start mastering it, and then start implementing each of these, into your life. So
yeah. What about you, Lynette? What's your biggest struggle on the tech framework, and which one do you want to prioritize first?
Yeah, so I'm with you and Michael on what you just said too about how time you kind of build and get more seasoned over time as you grow up. I know 10 years ago I wasn't in the right mindset I am in today, you know what I mean? So I think even my history, I mean, I've done all of these in my prior careers, but I think I still struggle with each one of them. So I love the time blocks. That's what I used to do as well when I was in sales, which worked. However, my concentration, like you were saying, Hannah, turn off that phone, like put it in the drawer, these 4 hours are dedicated to my calling or whatever you're doing, you know, outside, whatever. And then the energy for me is coming back slowly because our twins are now in school full time. So the house is quiet. No one's here. It's amazing. And then, like you said too, Michael, that the sleep and the nutrition is huge. A little fun fact about me, guys, I actually almost became a nutritionist about 10 years ago. I was into fitness myself. I was going to do a show and then I got pregnant with the boys. So, but anyway, it's huge. It changes your mindset, makes you feel better, energetic, and just ready to go. So
Awesome.
Awesome.
And Gloria, are you with us?
Yeah, sorry about that. I would say I actually really liked what you said about knowledge. Knowledge used is powerful. So I just wanted to make a call out there just because for me, like hearing that, I'm like, oh, that's like a mind shift change. So I thought that was pretty cool. For me, I think the hardest, most difficult, and that's something that I need to work on myself is just concentration in general. Actually between concentration and energy. I'm not a morning person, so I struggle there. I don't know what it is. You know, I get enough sleep. I'm fairly active. So I really need to spend more time on figuring out like what I can change to be.
Have you been introduced to coffee?
You know, it doesn't, it's to the point, no, I'm sipping on it right as we speak. The thing is, like, for me, I think it's just a habit now. It's part of my morning routine, but I don't really feel like it does anything to me. I don't know.
That sounds like Hannah. Hannah
Yeah,
like
it
drinks
puts me
coffee
to
before
sleep.
bed. She's like, oh, it makes me sleepy. I'm like,
It does, like, it can relax me, but now it's just part of my like habit morning routine situation.
for sure.
Yeah, and that's fine. You know, you don't
Yeah,
have
you don't have to be a
yeah.
morning person. I mean, you could do all whatever. That's why the question was, when are you most productive?
Yeah.
And if you realizing mornings, I am not productive, I'm not, you know, then obviously maybe you don't make calls.
Maybe,
then.
maybe that's when you meditate and read and work out and do those things. So
yeah, and
yeah.
then you as you start, your momentum of the day starts to go, and you go, you know what, by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I am lights out good.
Mhm.
Because all the studies say from 3 to 5 p.m., 3 to 6 p.m. is the best time to get a hold of clients,
Yeah.
you know? And so just by then I'm like wiped out. I'm like, I'm exhausted, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Are you and Hannah naturally morning people?
I've always been,
for the most
even
part, yeah.
even in high school, I wouldn't go to parties because I'd be sleeping before the party started every time. So,
Yeah, she
I-
falls asleep by 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like she's like, we're usually watching TV and she's out.
yeah, and I'm up at 5:30 typically. So and that's just my natural rhythm, without doing anything. So yeah, so that's the tech framework, and it's pretty easy stuff. There's a lot, if you Google it, you put the tools in place to be self-aware of where you're struggling, like time boxing and different things like that you can put in place to help set yourself up for success. So the green zone, this is our favorite word, and you'll start saying it too. And I really encourage you guys, teach your spouses this stuff too, because this more than anything made Michael and my relationship way better. And it's not like anything changed in the relationship. It's just, we were able to both be more self-aware of ourselves and each other. Right. And knew the tools to, not like when we get in the red zone, don't try to hash it out, because you can't hash it out when you're in the red zone. You have to take a break. I love you. I'm going to go take a quick walk. I'm going to take a quick cooler. Let's pick this up in 15 minutes, or let's pick this up in an hour. So being able to know that and understand each other really, really will help you. Same with your clients.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes I'll just tell clients, listen, it's best. Why don't you guys sleep on this? Because you're not in a good state to make a decision. Let's talk in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time I've done that over my 20-year career, it's just something changes the next day after you've had a chance to really process. And so I'm really quick to not make a fast, like really analyze what's coming in, receive what's coming in. I'm going to respond in the morning because I'm not in a good space right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to move yourself quickly out of that.
Have you guys ever typed out a text and then deleted it all, then typed it again, then deleted it all?
Yes.
That thing, right?
Good SOB.
Yeah.
Delete.
And I do that to you sometimes when I'm mad at you. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the hangry, that's definitely red zone. So green zone and flow. So I'm going to explain what this is. And then I'll kind of give you an example of how it can help in business, save a lot of money. So sorry, our dog is snoring.
Yeah,
Ryder,
wait,
wake
speaking
up.
of sleep, quality sleep, the dog, I keep,
Anyway,
he's been snoring all day. This guy gets plenty of sleep and plenty of food.
yeah.
So he broke into the protein powder bag.
Oh,
Given
no.
where we're at, everything's eye
Yeah.
level. So we get back from, I think we were out to lunch or something, and we came back and he's covered in paste.
His whiskers were
His
all like,
whiskers are covered, and we're like, what happened? Did he get into glue? And then it turns out he turned into the powder and he was just covered best. So
Yeah.
this dog will eat anything
Yeah.
and he gets to sleep. Yes, he does.
yeah. But anyway, so flow is when you feel great, your energy's focused, intentional, and everything seems to move effortlessly. And so think about a time that you were in flow, right? Think of Michael Jordan, where he just hits ball after ball after ball after ball. Like he's in flow, he's in the green zone, nothing could stop him. Or the opposite of flow would be someone that just can't make a basket that day, no matter what. Or a football player can't catch a ball no matter what. And same thing with you in your business, right? So think, Olivia, do you have a time that you could think of where you were just in flow, you felt great, energy was great, you're feeling productive?
Probably when I first joined the firm. I was a sponge. I was soaking up everything. I felt like my energy with you and Michael, like we just totally meshed, and like you guys motivated me without even trying, and I felt amazing. And that's the point I want to get back to.
Yeah, awesome. And that's exactly right. You just feel good and everything's just going as it should. So that's what flow is. And you can tell when you're out of flow, right? Like, oh, it's like Murphy's Law. Everything that can go wrong will. This is when they say you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. You don't wake up on the wrong side of the bed. It's because one thing knocks you out of the green zone in the morning and you don't reboot that entire day and you create that day. And so that's why it's so important to be fully aware and know, okay, I'm not in the green zone. I'm going to stop right now and I'm going to get myself in the green zone before I start and move on to the next thing. So leaders in flow are 5 times more productive. I'm sorry, I said 4, but I had a mistake. It's 5 times more productive. That's a 10-year study. You could look that up as well. Than when not in flow. Right. So a 2-hour person in flow, 2 hours of work could do the same amount of work and productivity than someone doing 10 hours of work. Think about a time you're in flow. And then the key to flow is emotional intelligence. So learn how to get back when you're knocked out. So when you think about a time that you were in flow and how good it felt, think of what made you get there. What was happening to make you feel that way? And so you could start to redo those things. And, sometimes you're going to have quick reboot things. Like for instance, it could be feed yourself, right? If you're hangry and you've been working for 10 hours and, just eating something might get you back in the green zone, or taking a walk or listening to music. Like maybe walking on the beach gets you in the green zone, but you're at work in an office and you can't walk on the beach right now. So maybe put in some headphones and listen to the beach for a couple minutes, or go on YouTube and watch the ocean, or look at some pictures on your phone of when you were last at the ocean. So you can do these quick little things to help reboot quicker. Listening to, for me, it's like listening to happy music, high beat per minute, a high energetic music gets me in flow as well. Playing with my puppy, like fills me with joy. So you start to put these things in place. Okay, what gets me in the green zone? So when I get knocked out, because it's going to happen daily, how do you get back quickly? And so this is what, this is the 9 productivity zones. So my coach said one of his clients, who also was a really top producer in real estate, he called my coach's name is William. He called him and said, William, you just saved me $100,000. And William goes, that's what I love to hear. How did that happen? He goes, well, I was sitting in my conference room at the office with a client, and this is a multi-million-dollar deal, a really large commission. And he said this, and I immediately got put in the red zone. And before I had this training, I would have reacted in a way that would have lost me that deal. And he said, because I had this training, I excused myself quickly from the room, said I need to use the restroom real quick. I rebooted for 2 minutes and got myself back in the green zone and thought about how I would react to this. I went back in the room. I made things right. I reacted with respect and blah, blah, blah. And I saved the deal. And so something as simple as being able to recognize and be self-aware on the spot before you react, which is my hardest saying. I just say what's on my mind all the time, which is why I accidentally offend people all the time, but I don't mean to. But so this is a big thing for me, is how do I recognize and stop myself before I say something to the client or to Michael or to an agent that's not going to get me a good result, and that's going to end up costing my relationships and my money. Exactly. So super important. You want to be in the green zone. That means in the 8, 9, 10 as much as possible. My coach always says 90% of the time your goal is to be in the green zone. So if you track your life daily, which I do every single day, how I start the day and end the day, don't start the day till you're in the green zone. And I used to have a really bad habit of this. I would wake up. First thing I did when I woke up, pull up my email on my phone, 5 a.m. Look at my email. There's an angry client. There's a cancellation. There's a bill that I got double charged, and I'm already in the red zone and setting myself up for a shitty day. And so that's a really important.
Yeah. So let's look at these 3: love, enthusiasm, creativity. Pretty awesome words, pretty awesome feelings, right? Love for yourself and other people, enthusiasm for the day and what you're doing, right? And then the creativity, which is such an important part of, like, as a real estate agent, right? On the business side, how can I do something today that's just powerfully creative about how do I grow the business? How do I encounter another client in a different way? And being able to find the vein. I always call it the vein. Like you're looking for that thing that changes your business financially for the better. Just being able to find, okay, this is the real vein. This is where I got to be. This is where the money is. This is what I've done to create revenue for my company. So those are 3 powerful things: love, enthusiasm, creativity. That's where you want to be in the green zone. So.
Exactly. And when you get in the yellow zone, have your be able to recognize it and have your tools in place to get yourself back in the green zone before your next meeting. And so this is really something that'll help you get into. Okay, can you see this ocean picture?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So this is what I do every single morning when I wake up. I open, this doesn't look the same for everybody. It can be different for every single one of you, but I look at a picture that makes me filled with joy. So I'm already in the green zone. And then I read my true north, my Tatsujin vision, which Tatsujin is your highest and best self. So, whoops, I didn't mean to turn that blue, but, so, mine is love and serve millions. I can run a sub 2.5 hour marathon. Michael and I are joyfully married, and our relationship with each other, friends and colleagues and families are thriving. We train and serve over 1,000 people in our real estate, the firm journey. We have franchises nationally making 10 million plus a year in earned income, have 25 plus million in real estate investments and 10 plus million in passive income per year. I love how beautiful, comfortable, and inviting our gorgeous modern home in Scottsdale is, and our beach home in Carmel by the Sea. We travel and create adventures every month with those we love. So I read that every single day. And that's my, my Tatsujin life, my highest and best life. And that pumps me up. Just reading that, looking at a beautiful picture reminds me of my home back in Hawaii, and reading my vision and reminds me of how much I love Michael and why I love the brokerage and why I love doing classes like this. And gets me in the zone. Then I do my morning routine. For me, that's coffee, gym, and a meditation of this, right? Envisioning yourself living this life actually gives you the same endorphins of actually living this life.
It's like planning a trip. Like,
Mhm.
you ever plan a trip, you get endorphins just planning your vacation. Like it's like just as good as actually going on the vacation. You get on the vacation and you don't feel as good as you did when you were planning the vacation. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like this weird letdown of
Yeah.
how it's going to be. So,
and so my coach always says this as an example. So I want all of you to close your eyes and close your eyes. Now imagine yourself laying in your bed, and then you're going to wake up and you're going to walk to your kitchen. And then you're going to go in the fridge and you're going to grab a lime. And then you're going to go on the cutting board and cut the lime in half. and then you're going to bite the lime. So what happened in that visualization? How did you feel?
I got that weird feeling in the back of my jaws. Like,
Exactly, like you bit the lime,
Yeah.
right? Your mouth salivates. And so it was so, because when William had me do that, I started laughing. He goes, "Why are you laughing?" I'm like, "Because I feel like I just bit a lime. My mouth started getting all sour." So that's how powerful visualizing your life can be. It actually feels the same as actually doing it. So I do that every morning, and then I write, what am I grateful for every day? And I do new things every day. I do my affirmations. So I am inherently worthy. I am perfectly unique. I am continuously learning. I am a gift. I am joyfully realizing my full potential. And then I put, each of my quotients. So 9Q is all of the quotients embodied. It's life mastery. So that includes PQ, which is physical intelligence, IQ, skills intelligence, EQ, relationships, that's your emotional intelligence, and then SQ, that's your service. So I put in my goals for each section every day. And then I do my daily activities, read, spend time with Michael, review tomorrow's calendar. I update and review today's calendar, organized by importance. And then at the end of the day, I do my win review, which I'll show you in this next thing here. So, oh, whoops, I gotta get back to this. Okay. So this is my favorite quote, and you guys are going to hear me say it a lot. We can never create an outcome greater than the state we initiate the action from. And a lot of people probably, don't know fully of what this means, and it may mean something different to every person. But think about if you had a $15 million client that you had to do a listing appointment for tomorrow morning. How would you show up to that listing appointment? Lynette, how do you think you'd show up?
dressed up, ready
Yeah.
to go. Mhm.
Yep.
Not wearing jeans and a t-shirt. You want to match with the client that you're going to go see.
Absolutely. You would show up your best, right? And so that's what we need to do every single day with every single person we meet, our family members, our clients, and ourselves. We need to show up our best, because if you showed up to that meeting in a poor energetic state, looking like a bum, stressed out, unprepared, don't know the property, don't know anything about the client, are you going to get that listing? No. And so that's what this means, is your outcome can only be as great as the state of mind and the energetic state in which you initiate the action. And so that's why it's so powerful. And my coach always says, never schedule back-to-back sequences. He calls sequences like meetings or activities through the day, because after this meeting, you guys are all going to leave with a certain energy from Michael and I, subconsciously, right? And hopefully that's a good energy, but a lot of meetings, it's going to be a bad energy. And you have to be able to reboot, ask yourself, how do I feel right now? Am I in the green zone? Okay, great. I'm going to move on to the next meeting, the next sequence. If you're not in the green zone, you need to get there before the next meeting. And if you can't get there, you need to reschedule that meeting, because your outcome's only going to be as great as the energetic state in which you began that meeting. So it's really, really important to be self-aware. And I used to just go sequence to sequence to sequence, being in the red zone because I had to get it done. And now if I can't get myself in the green zone before a meeting, or before a lunch or something, I'll cancel it now. And that was a really big, powerful tool that I learned. So these are the 6 habits every single day that you can do to help stay aware and keep yourself in the green zone, which is the most important part of your life. So there's ready, check, set, go, reboot, upgrade. So ready is getting yourself in the green zone. That's your morning integrity plan that I just showed you. So that'll look different to each of you. It doesn't have to be on a computer. It could be whatever. Think about what are your habits each morning that you're going to do to get yourself in the green zone. And it could be different for all of you. So that's homework for you. Create your morning integrity plan and what that looks like. And I do encourage you to every single day. What?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I'm listening.
to-
I'm so excited about what you're
Yeah,
saying.
to every single day, write down your things that you're grateful for, because that really makes you feel good. And then also read your Tatsujin True North Vision. So check. This is check what zone you're in. How am I feeling right now? On a 1 to 10, where am I at? You want to be at least an 8, right? All the time. And check yourself all throughout the day. So this is in the morning, check. And then I set reminders on my phone every 2 minutes, every 2 hours to check my zone. Because sometimes I forget. I'm just in the zone and I'm going through. And then when my alarm goes off, I'm like, oh, I'm really stressed out right now. And I'm just going through these motions. I need to reboot real quick. Set. This is where you clarify intentions to save you and your partner and team energy. So this is what Michael and I do on a daily basis. Because have you ever shown up to the dinner table and or finished work and you and your spouse come in and your spouse has plans to go out to dinner and then to go pick out flooring for the house, and then your plans is, I had a really long stressful day, I need to set up a few searches, I need to write a contract, and then I just need to lay down and do nothing and read a book, right? And you guys have different aligned intentions, and so you guys end up getting in an argument or there's negative energy, not because anything happened or you did anything to each other, you just had different intentions and expectations for that evening. So Michael, and that's a real life example of Michael and I on a weekend, right? He may have intentions to do something that weekend and I have intentions to do something else, and not communicating those is going to set yourself up for disappointment and bad energy. Same with your clients. I always set intentions for my time with my clients. Here are my intentions for this appointment today. What are your intentions out of me? What do you expect out of me from this appointment? And I tell them that for the whole process, from the first time we meet to the time we close. Here's what you can expect from me from start to finish. And here's what I expect from you to make sure that this is a smooth process.
Yeah, like life's about expectations, as you guys know. And I always you'll hear me say this all the time, misaligned expectations. Like with the clients, it's like they think their house is worth $1 million. We know it's worth $700,000. Like getting them aligned with, say, hey, the expectation is, I think your house is worth $700,000. The reason why it's not going to sell is because X, Y, and Z at $1 million. And can I meet that client's expectations too on the listing side? Buyers, it's easier. There are not as many expectations other than open the door for me, right? But you can rein in your buyers, right? The typical buyer looks at 4 to 6 properties. They give you 15 properties to see that day. You've done a poor job, because you want to whittle that down. Most clients, it takes 30 minutes per property to see a property. If we show 15 of them, we're going to be here for 8 hours. You're going to be tired, cranky, and miserable. And it's 120 degrees outside, by the way, too. So reining in those expectations as you guys go. And then like Hannah was saying, just being on the personal side, being able to have good intentions. Like what is our plan for Saturday? What are we doing? Well, you're working for 6 hours. Okay, great. Now I know, like I can do other things during that time. And the things maybe I enjoy to do by myself. And then we'll get together at 4 o'clock and have time together. Like it's just a great way we do it all the time now. Like we're like, what are our intentions for the day? And then so that everybody's expectations are aligned. So
Yeah,
really good stuff.
Same with even us, because we're in California right now, but we're working, we're not on vacation. And so what we do, once a day, sometimes twice a day, we'll go for a walk on the beach. We'll take 30 minutes and go walk on the beach. And even that, it's like, sometimes in the beginning we had misaligned expectations. We would go to the beach and his expectations is that we were just taking 30 minutes off and walking on the beach. And my expectations is I'm working on the beach. And so, I'm like, okay, well now I know I'm going to put my phone away. I'm going to leave it in the truck and we're going to walk on the beach and we're both going to have
We're
aligned
going to enjoy
expectations.
the beach without the phone.
Yeah.
And without trying to put out fire. Like, let's enjoy the beach. Right?
Yeah. So little stuff like that. So set your intentions. And I do this with my clients too. So I used to do so much and work. And I was a slave to my clients, which we all are, especially in the beginning. Now I have scaled my business to where I don't really leave the house. I don't really show houses anymore. I still represent buyers, but I don't show houses. I don't write contracts. I don't input listings. I don't do any of that anymore. And I set that expectation with my clients out the gates. I'm like, here's what you can expect working from me.
Yeah.
I have a buyer's agent that's going to be amazing. I'm going to connect you with them right away. They're going to be available to ensure the best service. I'm here. They're there too for the price of one. They're going to show you all the properties. We're going to set up a search. Let's narrow down this search to, 4 to 10 properties ideally. And then one of those properties we're going to buy for you. That's going to be your place. So set the expectations. I'm not showing you houses for a year. I'm not showing you 15 houses a day. I'm showing you 4 to 10 and you're buying one. And that's what you can expect when you work with me as an agent. Yours may be totally different. This is just what I do.
Yeah.
Right. And then I say, and once we find a property you love, we're going to connect you with my transaction coordinator. She's going to get all the details for the offer. We'll negotiate that together, and she's going to manage and make sure everything is done perfectly on the back end of the transaction. I will meet you at final walkthrough. So I set those intentions right out the gates. People always ask me, how do you get away with selling all this real estate without ever meeting your clients? I'm like, well, because I tell them from the beginning exactly what they can expect from me. And so they know it's part of the process, and they know every step of the way what to expect. So go. When I was telling you I used to wake up and look at my phone right away, that means I would wake up and I would just go straight to go. I would start my day in step 4, which is setting yourself up for failure. You have to go through these ones first. Ready, check, set has to be done before you hit go. So by the time you're in go, it's easy. You're in flow. It's just smooth. You go right through the motions. You're in the green zone, and you're moving along on your day. Fully engaged, present, focused, and acting with clarity. So then you're in go. You're feeling great. Well, then you get a call. Client cancels a contract. That was an $80,000 commission. Happens to us. Happened to us a couple months ago. We lost a $100,000 commission, and neither one of us got knocked out of the green zone because we have all of this in place, of this training in place. But you're going to fall out of the green zone. You're going to realize, I'm really pissed off right now. I'm really stressed out. I'm overwhelmed. Everything's going wrong. I just lost $100,000. How could that be? Now I need to reboot, because you're not going to get any good outcomes being in that state of mind. It is what it is. It happened. Now all you can do is reboot and get back in the green zone so you can keep doing the things you need to do to succeed again. So check that you've fallen out of the green zone and get back into flow before you do anything else with your day. Before you go talk to your partner and say something horrible, say, I need to reboot. This just happened. I'm going to go do what I need to do to reboot. And then I'm going to come back and be with the family.
And then it's funny you do this. You guys start doing this, then your partner, you're going to be like, you're not in the green zone right now. I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
And then you get back, so it's like a funny thing. Hannah, you're in the red zone right now. We're not going to have a talk. We're not doing this. Well, I'll talk to you in 20 minutes.
Yeah, there's a movie, I forget what movie it is, but her husband's laying in bed sleeping quietly, and she looks at him in the movie and she goes, "You're annoying me." Right? And that's, if you're in the red zone and anything can annoy you, you're in the red zone. I mean, you're just mad in general. And so of course you're going to take it out on the ones that you're with, which could be your clients or your colleagues or your,
most of the times it's your spouse.
Yeah, most of the times.
Most of the time.
Yeah. So really good stuff. Then upgrade, right? So when you reboot, you're like, okay, how can I upgrade? What can I do better next time to continue to grow? So I do a win review every single day, and I encourage you to do daily win reviews, do weekly win reviews, quarterly, semi-annually, and annually for your win review. So win stands for what is working, what isn't working, and what needs to change. And so this is the energies next to it. I could obviously I'm 9Q certified, so I could go really deep into energies, but that's a little bit much for this class. But fire energy, that's your sales energy. Most salespeople have fire energy. It's very emotional driven. That's where they're good. They're high energy. They're passionate. They also can get really worked up and fiery and red hot and blow up. Like that's fire energy. Water energy just flows. So you're not attached. When you say what isn't working, so when you say what is working, you want fire energy because you want to be proud of yourself. You want to get excited. Like, this is working. I'm kicking ass. I've implemented this. It's working really well. I'm super excited. Then I'm going to shift to what isn't working. This isn't to beat yourself up. It's not to shame yourself. It's not to hate yourself or blame yourself. It's to say, okay, I'm just analyzing this from a data perspective. I'm going to put my engineering mind on. The data shows that this isn't working. I'm getting distracted in the morning. I'm spending 3 hours, dealing with parent teacher problems. I need to do something different. So that's when you say what needs to change. That's earth energy. It's declarative. It's I'm going to change this. Right. And that happens to me sometimes. Sometimes, like, this is big for my eating healthy. I'll be like, tomorrow I am going to eat completely healthy. This is what I'm going to eat. And I declare it. And then the next day I don't do it. And I get and then my fire energy comes in and I get so mad at myself. Right. So when you are saying what needs to change, say it with declaration and stick to it. You have to believe it for it to actually happen. So I do this every day. Here's an example of mine. What worked today? Checking myself throughout the day with my alarms and rebooting when needed, prioritizing tasks before starting the day and removing tasks that don't align with my true north, time blocking, prospecting, client follow-up, and marketing. What isn't working? Showing unqualified buyers houses. I've been in the trap of that, showing people around because I don't want to lose the lead and they're not qualified, wasting a lot of your time and energy. Not spending too much time on the non-money making tasks. So that's a big problem. I spend a lot of time, I have a checklist. A lot of this stuff I shouldn't be doing. It's not making me money, right? Your highest and best use of time is prospecting, getting new clients, follow up. My highest best use of time is training you guys, making sure I'm involved with the agents, recruiting new agents, selling franchises, running the business. What needs to change? I need to be clear about my intentions for the day and remove tasks that are not my highest and best use of time. So this is just an example and it'll look different for everybody. So I'm going to upload this to the back office so you have it. But this is one of my projects. This was my final project that my coach had me do. Can you guys see this leadership development plan?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I will give you this as homework to work through. This is a pretty big project, but it goes through an overview of the leadership paradox, put yourself first. So read all of this. And I encourage you to do this with your spouse as well, or whoever your accountability partner is too. So it talks about the win review process, the 6 habits. So make your integrity setup. So this is an example of my coach's integrity setup every single morning before he starts his day. And then, you could put in here what your integrity setup is. This is fillable. Go through your reboots. Here are some examples of reboots that you could try. So fill out things that make you feel better and in the green zone. So yeah, this is kind of homework for you guys. It's supposed to be really fun for you. It goes through, what quotients, like in your physical quotient, are you in the green zone every day? And it kind of gives you an example of what that looks like. And you could put, rarely, seldom, sometimes, usually, intelligence quotient, emotional quotient. So you can really see where your biggest weaknesses and opportunities to work on throughout your quotient. So your energetic intelligence is all of these quotients mastered, basically. There's really a lot of good stuff in here. So yeah, quotient needs my greatest intention. And then we can keep going down here, and then it'll have you fill out your vision, mission, values. Very, very important. You guys have known our company vision, mission, values. So this, you want your personal vision, mission, values. And then for your business, your real estate business, what are your business values, vision, and mission for your clients? Strengths to leverage, areas that you can develop. Different leadership traits and activities to help strengthen those. Yeah, really, really good stuff in here. So I'm going to move on, but you can, this also goes into what's your biggest win, right? So your high value targets, what are your high value targets? Is it to get 4 listing appointments a month or for a week? Is it to add 10 new contacts to your day, as we talk about for your daily, daily checklist? So put different targets in here and what the outcome of that target's going to be and when it's due. So this holds you accountable. And then make sure you have the proper training, resources, and funding to accomplish that. And then you can track that. There's multiple different targets. Yeah, so that's everything. So if you have any questions on this as you go through it, or if you want me to review it with you guys and just discuss it and go over it and put it into existence, happy to help on that one as well. And then we're going to finish with the best investment you can make is in yourself. And my coach always says, we're trained to live for other people. We're trained to be the best wife, to be the best husband, to be the best real estate agent, the best business owner, the best mother, the best father, the best sister, the best brother. And we're not trained to be the best us. And that's the number one thing you have to do is be the best you, invest in yourself. He actually says, putting yourself first is the least selfish thing you can do. Because if you can't put yourself first, if you don't put yourself first, then you won't show up your best. And then everybody you interact with is not going to get you at your best. So it actually is giving them the best by putting yourself first.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Recaps and ahas. And we did a lot of interactive stuff, but let's start with Lynette. How's your thinking changed? What ideas and mindsets were new to you today?
I should probably take myself off mute before I start talking. So how was my thinking changed? So I kind of take this to heart myself a lot because just real quick, I'll make it short. My previous life, I always say that a lot of these traits that I do have, I'm very energetic. I feed off other people, but I had a lot of negative people in my life. My spouse wasn't on the same page as myself. So to me, that's huge. So going forward into my life now, all of these things are just so powerful that I don't know, I can't even explain it. I've had a huge transition in my life, a lot of ahas from all of these things that you went over, Hannah. So it kind of hits me to heart. But my mindset and way I'm going to be thinking going forward is I'm going to implement all of these day to day. So it's a lot to do, but I feel like if you write it down, you put it out there in the universe, it's going to happen. It's going to make you feel different and make you feel better. Therefore, you are ready to go for all your clients, your friends, your family, and you have that great energy, out there and exposed.
Awesome. And it is so awesome it's basically a journal every day. Like I use Evernote or OneNote and to see every day, like I've even tracked Michael, right? Because if he's anxious or if we have an argument or something, I write that down. And so if your spouse is like, oh, we never argue and we have a great relationship, you're like, well, 6 out of 7 of the past days of each week, we have some sort of argument. Like that's an opportunity for us to work on. And obviously those are made up numbers. Michael and I luckily have a great relationship. But it's really cool to be able to track and same in your business. Like, how are you feeling on a daily basis? If you end the day and you're in the red zone 4 out of 5 days of the work week, what can you do to change to improve that? So it's really, really cool to see your growth as you track that. And it doesn't take, like I spend probably a total of 10 minutes a day doing that morning integrity setup. It's a pretty quick process.
Great. It's great stuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Olivia?
Let's see. Oh, okay. We'll go to Olivia here. So what do you feel differently about? What was meaningful to you today?
The whole presentation. I know I've seen this one. I think this would be my 3rd time. And it always strikes a different chord. Like it always, hits really hard and deeply. And I take it to heart, but I understand it on a different depth every single time. It just makes more sense. And I think
so we're constantly working on this stuff, continuously. So it's nothing that you're going to master, right? It's just being able to implement these things each day in your life. So
yeah. And there's so many quotients to work on all the time, right? It's hard. And that's what I forget who says it, but they're like, for instance, me, I don't want kids. Like my whole world is my business and leading and you guys and the agents and Michael. And like, there's so many other priorities that I'm really passionate about. And someone always says, you can't be the best CEO and the best mother. You can't be the best husband and the best president of a company or vice versa. So some things you do in life, you have to sacrifice something else. And so what energetic and emotional intelligence tries to teach you is how do we master everything in our life 90% of the time, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because a lot of people out there, they're really good at this thing and everything else is failing. Right. Yeah. And so that's what this really is about, is it's not for me, it's not just okay, cool. I mastered business. I can build a business. I can make money. Great. That's one little tiny piece of life. But if my health is failing and I'm depressed, that's not life mastery. And vice versa. If you have amazing health and you're in incredible shape and you're a happy person, but you're $500,000 in debt and you have, no idea how to get out of it and you have no career going for you, like there's an opportunity for you to work on. So this is really teaching you how to become a well-rounded, happy, successful person in all areas in life. So
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to that there, Olivia?
Honestly, I think today I'm walking away feeling more confident in what I need to do and the immediate steps I need to take. Because I can know all of this, but like you said earlier, it's the knowledge you use. And I've had all this swimming around in my brain for quite a while, and I haven't been in the mental and emotional space to actually put it to work. So I think I'm coming to that point. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
yay.
Terrific. Let's see if Michelle's back on here. How will your behaviors, Michelle, be different going forward, and what actions will you take going forward?
So for me, I feel like what I need to do for myself moving forward would be to take better care of myself, because I spend so much time taking care of other people
Yeah.
that I need to find myself again.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's very difficult, but I think I can figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really hard on I assume you have kids as well, Michelle.
I do.
That's the thing, you got spouse and kids and trying to make everybody happy, and it's tough. I think it's the hardest thing on especially moms, where
Yeah.
it's just like there's so much you have to pour into
Everyone else besides.
yeah, exactly. So
And that goes back to what we were saying is the least selfish thing you can do is put yourself first. Kind of like how they train you in a plane to put your air mask on first before your partners.
Mhm.
Because if you're dead, you can't save them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I struggle with that. I think all of us do. Is we're taught in the society from the day we're born to live for other people. And that's just the way that our culture is. And that's why a lot of us just live in misery our whole life, because our actions are completely driven based on serving somebody else. And then we can't serve them well at all because we're not ever thinking about ourselves. So
yeah.
thank you.
Very true.
Cool. Gloria, what tools, models, and systems will you definitely use? How will they make you accountable?
Really just, I think, going over the 6 habits. It's one of those things I think Olivia had touched on, like you know the knowledge in your head and it's just swimming around, but to be able to see it broken down step by step was really empowering. And for me, I think just I think I struggle going from like waking up to the go mode, and I feel like I'm in that constant yellow stage. And don't get me wrong, like I'm naturally a very positive person. I'm always like that half glass full kind of person, but I think I just live in that constant yellow stage. So really putting in Hannah went over her morning routine, and I think I need to be more intentional about that instead of going from waking up to go mode.
Mhm.
Yeah, being intentional. I love that word that you use, because that's what it's about. Being
Yeah.
intentional about, and the things that you guys really care about in life, you're going to be intentional about, and being and just like I love Anna to death, so I'm intentional about my time with her, how we treat her, the things I do for her, like priorities, right? Same thing in business. Like I'm intentional about making sure this is the best business I can make it, and those are the things that you're going to be really good at when you're intentional and you pour your time and your effort into it. So
Yeah. And going back to your big why. And that's why I read my True North Chatsujin vision every single morning, because you lose sight of that. You have all these tasks and you're go, 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 go. And you have all these things to balance. You have to going just these little things. And that's what I told my coach too. When he taught me this, I was like, this isn't stuff that should cost, tens and tens of thousands of dollars, right? It's not rocket science. It's not stuff that we don't know. but actually breaking it down and putting the habits in place every single day. Just like, you know, me, I want to lose 20 pounds overnight, but it didn't take me one night to gain 20 pounds. It took 2 years or 1 year, whatever that time frame is. And same here with these habits. Tomorrow, you're not going to be a 9Q expert and life is perfect and you never get knocked out of the green zone again. It's daily little single habits, a few minutes a day, and just that self-awareness that'll really, really impact your life. And I know it's simple stuff, but it was life-changing for me, completely life-changing.
Cool. We have our last.
Cool. Yeah. So this is what we go through every day, just your daily, you know, back to the real estate realm, you know, keep adding contacts to your database, speak with people in your database, 10 people a day, and then follow up notes or calls every single day to 10 people, and then hold 10 open homes a month as well.
Yeah, daily 10-4, guys. These are the minutia, right, of the day that we have to do every single day to be successful. Good.
Yep. And prioritize your calendars and your checklists. Make sure you aren't spending too much time and energy on things that aren't the most productive. And then real quick, some really good readings: Science of Getting Rich, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. That book's amazing. A lot of this 9Q training came from that book. So definitely recommend you read that. My coach actually, he gets mad at me because I'm like always on to the next, right? I'm like, I learned it, I read the book, I'm on to the next book. And he keeps reminding me, knowledge isn't power. Executed knowledge is power. And so he actually reads a book 10 to 15 times over before he reads a new book. Like, he's like, yeah, this year I'm reading this book. I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, I want to know this so well that I can execute this knowledge that I'm learning from the book. And I get something new from it every single time, versus me, I read the book as fast as possible and I probably only absorbed a page and then I jump to the next book and then I don't put anything into action. So just because the knowledge is in the back of my head, it didn't have any impact. So kind of a cool thing. Yeah. And then the E-Myth. This is a business book. This talks about really scaling your business. So you guys probably aren't there being new agents, but definitely put this, it's really good mindset to have, because you want to set your business up for growth and scalability, because eventually you're going to want to be able to step out and still make money and still have your business run. You're going to want to be able to go spend 3 months away from your clients and still have your clients run. Like we had an agent ask me, oh, so you're just not going to service any clients this summer because you're going to be out of state? I'm like, oh no, I'm servicing all my clients and closing lots
She
of
made
deals.
more money in real estate than she did when she was back there.
Yeah,
So-
I made like over probably $150,000 this summer, and I haven't even been in Arizona. So it's all about scalability and putting the systems in place to remove yourself from the business, because real estate, if you just build a clientele and they just love you and they just expect you and you do everything from start to finish, listing appointment, showings, paperwork, final walkthroughs, it's about like everything. As soon as you walk away from that, your whole income stops. So always have in the back of your mind, and that's what the E-Myth teaches. How do I scale? You know, eventually you're going to have a buyer's agent. You may start a team. You're going to have a transaction coordinator. You may pay another agent to do all your showings for you or your listing appointments for you. So keep thinking about that as well. And the Science of Getting Rich is all about law of attraction and thinking things into existence, like you said, Lynette. So really good books to put on the list. Read them, absorb them, and that's it. Do you guys have any final comments or questions?
I don't have any questions, but I wanted to say thank you for this today. It was really good because, you know, we all, I think like Michelle was saying, it's really at times hard to find yourself or re-find yourself, you know, right when you think you're like, oh, this is great, something happens, and then you just kind of get put back into your shell. So I just think it was really good, and I appreciate this today.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Lynette. Glad you liked it. And yeah, on Friday, is that tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. We actually have, if you go in the back office on Fridays at the firm, you'll see there's another video. There's like this kind of same one. And then there's another one. I think it's called part 2 or part 1 or something. That's where we actually dive into the 6 habits and actually show you. I'm going through the actual training videos that my coach produced that cost a lot of money. So watch those ones first. And then tomorrow will be the second half of the training videos for the 6 habits. So it won't really be me talking. It'll be a screen recording of my coach talking. So it's really, really good stuff. Watch that. And we would love to see you guys there tomorrow too. All right, well, have a great Thursday.
Yeah, you
and
guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.